Thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. We are streaming live on Vision TV 24/7 and on other social media platforms. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The headlines. President Bola Tinubu rejoices with Christians as Christmas assures Nigerians of better years. Federal Road Safety Corps charges motorists on safety at Yuletide. And stakeholders collaborate on measures to harness potential of Nigeria's blue economy. President Bola Tinubu rejoices with Christian faithful as they celebrate Christmas to mark the birth of Jesus Christ. President Tinubu acknowledged that for Christians, Christmas is the time to celebrate the hope and redemption that are the hallmarks of Christ's life. The president wants Christians in the spirit of Christmas to reflect on the best of Christ, endeavor to extend the warm embrace of kindness to those around them, and allow the multiple acts of kindness to serve as a light that guides them into a happy and wonderful new year. President Tinubu observed that the year has been a time of transformation and relentless change in the country, noting that he is aware that the necessary reforms implemented by his administration aimed at achieving a more prosperous and peaceful nation for all have imposed unique sacrifices. The president assures Nigerians that the present administration will continue to implement palliative measures to ease the burden on the most vulnerable and to address current hardships, as well as alleviate the suffering of all people. Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has called on Nigerians to remain steadfast and hopeful as they celebrate Christmas, regardless of the hard times citizens are experiencing. Senator Akpabio expressed optimism that the series of socio-economic upheavals shall manifest in positive outcomes through the visionary development architecture of the current national leadership in the country, headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The President of the Senate wants the Christian faithful to pray and be hopeful because with the birth of Jesus Christ, who is a symbol of hope, love and redemption, Nigeria will also overcome, adding that Christmas calls for deep reflection on the teachings of Jesus Christ, which were anchored on love for neighbor, peaceful coexistence, and loyalty to constituted authorities. Akpabio advised Nigerians not to give up on their leaders, particularly the present government of President Bola Tinubu. And Speaker House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has called for prayers and supplication for Nigeria as Christians celebrate this year's Christmas to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ. Speaker Abbas noted that Jesus Christ had a humble beginning before becoming a global and generational phenomenon. He says it is therefore incumbent on Nigerians to emulate the virtues of Jesus Christ, which encompass love, sacrifice, tolerance, and building consensus among the people. While urging prayers for the success of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration, the Speaker calls on citizens to continue to support their political, spiritual, and traditional leaders in the journey for a safe and prosperous country. Now, conducting vehicle drills on a regular basis before embarking on a journey, as well as avoiding activities that lead to fatigue, will reduce the chances of a sour Christmas. This was the submission of the Federal Road Safety Commission as advice to road users this Yuletide. Mediong Iba reports.
Safety on the roads can be described as a shared responsibility of every road user. As activities of the Yuletide heighten, the road can be extremely busy due to the influx of vehicular movement. The need for every individual to apply caution and adhere strictly to traffic rules and be informed of the proper use of the road, stakeholders say, is therefore important for beautiful Christmas and the New Year events. However, some motorists enumerate some measures to ensure safety on the roads.
Before you even start your engine in the morning, you should check the oil level of the car. You should check the water, the temperature gauge, and then before you even start the car. And then before you ply the road, check out your tires. This is dry season, so you ensure that your tires are in good shape.
I'm to be careful while I'm driving. I don't drink while I'm driving. I check my cars, my tires, my hydraulic, my waters. So I check everything in my car before I move onto the road, so that I will be able to have a safe drive, and I will not drink.
Meanwhile, statistics from January to November 2022 and January to November 2023 of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Akwa Ibom State, shows reduction in the number of casualties of road crashes. It is the hope of the people as they embark on various trips that the Yuletide brings joy and happiness without sorrow. In Uyo, Emediomo, NTA News.
Right about that. Now, as the festive season no doubt allows time for people to relax from the daily hustle and bustle and to pave way for celebration and merriment. A time to spend with friends, families and loved ones. Making the season memorable does not come with mere words but also expenses. Dianikume Ululu in this report takes a look at budgeting for the Yuletide season in the face of prevailing economic realities.
The end of the year usually comes with festivities, and the Yuletide season allows most people spend more by buying gifts for friends, families, holding get-together parties, and even picnic for most people. The season, which also ushers into a new year, is characterized by shopping, outings, traveling, and lots of merriment. However, while one may be carried away with these activities, it is pertinent to note that the aftermath of the season is always daunting.
Budget your spending on what you have. Don't do more than your capacity. Don't do more than yourself. If it's a bottle of wine you can afford to give somebody, do that. Don't go and borrow to please another person. Don't even borrow to please your family. Just manage whatever you want.
To tailor our expenses based on what we have, so that we can also have plans for the next year that is coming, which we all pray is going to be very fruitful and very blessed.
You don't spend all your money because of Christmas. You still look after towards the January, because that is the difficult time for me.
Respondents are of the view that it is important to spend with caution to enable one set a financial plan for the first quarter of 2024.
Remember, January is going to come. Spend according to your budget and spend carefully so January doesn't hurt you. That's the thing.
While we are in the mood of the festivities,
It is also the perfect time to modify our financial plan and keep track your goals for the coming year. In Yenegwa, Dianikume Ululu, NTA News.
And Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, felicitates with Nigerians on the occasion of Christmas. Statements by the press secretary to the minister, Osegbovo Ehisiniemen, says the minister wants Nigerians to reflect on the life and times of Jesus during his earthly life, while noting that his teachings on hope and faith in God, being the foremost pillars of Christianity, should be internalized in all aspects of national life. The minister also urges Nigerians to renew their commitment to the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, which has enhanced security as one of its pillars. He also urges, use the occasion to applaud the commitments of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and policemen nationwide to government's vision of retooling policing. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shatima has been conferred with the chieftaincy title of Eni Ndigbo by the Dunkofia Kingdom in Anambra State. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibril reports that the conferment was done at the 32nd Uko Ofala celebration.
Powers bestowed on me by the Uko Chieftaincy Constitution hereby confer on you the title ADC.
One of them.
Congratulations.
This is the honor done to the Vice President by the Ukpo community in the South Central Political Zone of Anambra State. The 2023 Ofala Festival of Ukpo Community is the 32nd since the enthronement of Igwe Robert Chukwudilim Eze, a resolute administrator who became the Igwe Ukpo in 1992. The day serves as a rite of renewal for the traditional ruler and showcases the rich cultural heritage of the people. Vice President Kashim Shatima acknowledged the crucial role the traditional ruler and his community are playing in uniting the nation.
I want to identify with you. I want to salute you. You are correct. You are industry. You are enterprising disposition. You are largeness of heart. It's exemplified by the likes of Grace Ebe. Be rest assured that my boss, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is determined to redefine the meaning and concept of modern leadership in Nigeria. Be rest assured that the Igbo is the heartbeat of the Nigerian nation. The Igbo cannot be left behind. We work assiduously in all dispensation to see that the Igbo is well represented and well endowed.
The seamless blend of Christian religion with traditional activities stands out the Ukpo Ofala from other Ofalas. From Ukpo community in Anambra State, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
The reason for the season is strengthened by having no one left out of the festivities. Kulu Mohammed tells us more about the mood for Christmas in Europe.
The Finnish post office in Rovaniemi is covered by snow almost all year round. It receives over 500,000 letters from all around the world addressed to Santa Claus. Then the Train of Lights in England, a unique steam train ride awaits all the family in the corner of Devon. The steam train, illuminated with thousands of lights, takes passengers for a festive ride. Passengers travel through an enchanted forest, fully transformed into a winter wonderland, and then arrives at the magical Christmas market in Estonia. The Old Town Square in Tallinn is brought to life as Europe's prettiest Christmas market. The market, complete with wooden hearths, fairy lights, a traditional Christmas tree, and plenty of exotic food and drinks to go round. It also hosts Tallinn's busiest Christmas tradition and a troupe of folk dancers. Villagers dress in elaborate attires and deeply merry by dancing around an enormous campfire. A day after, they parade through the streets, acting out scenes to scare away evil spirits for the coming year. In the town of Kolna, locals are treated to a perfect picture display of children on a boat, beautifully lit with barges, as well as sailed down canals while performing traditional Christmas carols. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Beatitude Father and the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Theophilus Pierbattista Pizzaballa, arrived at the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem on Sunday for the annual Feast of Christ's Incarnation to mark Christmas Eve. The Patriarch arrived at the Manger Square with his entourage as he is greeted by worshippers. However, Bethlehem is devoid of its usual Christmas cheer as celebrations stand cancelled this year due to the conflict in Gaza. The absence of tourists, pilgrims, carols and the iconic Christmas tree in Manger Square paints a bleak picture of the town revered as the birthplace of Jesus Christ. The war in Gaza has deterred thousands of foreign visitors who typically flock to Bethlehem during the season, causing significant economic strain for local businesses. Shops in Manger Square are mostly closed, and the Church of the Nativity, usually a hub of activity, remains quiet. This year, in protest against Israeli actions in Gaza and as a show of support and solidarity with Palestinians, Bethlehem has opted to forego Christmas celebrations. It marks the first time in the living memory that the town, synonymous with festive joy, will not partake in the traditional Christmas festivities. The Church of the Nativity holds great significance for many Christians. Originally commissioned by the first Christian Roman Emperor, Constantine the Great, the church is believed to be located upon Jesus' birthplace. According to the ancient tradition of the Church of Jerusalem, the Feast of Incarnation of Christ has been celebrated in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, since the 4th century AD, with the leadership of Father and the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem and his entourage. You're watching the news on NTA International. Time for a short break. More reports when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Cooperation and Moroccans residing abroad, Nasser Bourita, has held a meeting in Marrakesh with the foreign ministers of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. The discussions were on the sidelines of the ministerial meeting to coordinate the international initiative of King Mohammed VI of Morocco, aimed at enhancing access of the Sahel countries to the Atlantic Ocean. Niger's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Nigerians Abroad, Bakari Yao Sangara, said the Moroccan road infrastructure, which is a big project for his country, will help boost exportation. Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré, Burkina Faso's Minister of Foreign Affairs, lauded the collaboration on two fronts. First, the King of Morocco's initiative to facilitate the Sahel region's access to the Atlantic Ocean and the bilateral relations with both countries. At this time of the year, many African migrants endure the turbulence of moving to Europe. Kulu Mohammed reports that migrants say arrival, especially to the United States of America, is easy.
Currently, the unspeakable hardship faced by migrants is meted on them by border security guards at different border lines. However, the United States of America's 2024 election is believed to be the pull factor, as migrants are made to believe politicians are forced to handle lightly illegal migrations in order not to lose votes. Reaching Europe via Libya or Tunisia is now harder than getting across the US-Mexico border, as the European Union has continued to mobilize border guards and governments in Africa to ensure minimal passage by migrants into Europe. The latest report by the United Nations put the number of deaths at 10 people every month. The US-Mexico border has been giving the government a tough time as migrants arrive in unbelievably large numbers, making dealing with them virtually impossible. Rescue workers and volunteers alongside Coast Guards battle to meet the needs of illegal migrants, ranging from food, water, first aid and medicines, as the regular imperatives serve migrants rescued on the Mediterranean. Most recently, even expectant mothers put rescuers into labor panic as a number of babies are born either in arriving sinking dinghy boats or on rescue boats or ships. The United Nations say the global instability around the world has driven further the number of people taking the deadly decision to sail upon the dangerous waters of the globe in hopes to arrive Europe or America for what they are made to believe is the land of their dream. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News. Currently,
The United Nations has called for the urgent rescue of 185 people, mainly women and children, on a distressed boat last heard to be near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Indian Ocean. A statement by the United Nations Refugee Agency indicates that around 70 of those on board are children and 88 are women. At least a dozen are feared to be in critical condition, with one individual reported to have already died. The agency spokesman Babar Balok reveals that the people on board were Rohingya refugees and appealed to all coastal authorities in the area to rescue them. Reports say thousands of the mostly Rohingya persecuted in Myanmar undertake risky sea journeys from Myanmar and refugee camps in Bangladesh every year, trying to reach Malaysia or Indonesia. More than 2,000 Rohingya are believed to have attempted the risky journey to Southeast Asian countries in 2022, the United Nations added. A chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean was hit by a drone launched from Iran, the US military says. It also reports that a fire on board the Chem Pluto was extinguished and there are no casualties. Reports say the vessel was heading from Saudi Arabia to India and was linked to Israel. Iran has not commented, but Houthi rebels in Yemen, who are backed by Iran, have recently used drones and rockets to target vessels in the Red Sea. The US said the Chem Pluto was hit by a one-way attack drone fired from Iran and believed to be the first time the US has publicly accused Iran of targeting a ship directly. It has previously accused Iran of being deeply involved in planning operations against commercial vessels in the Red Sea, a charge Tehran has denied. Russia's Communist Party has nominated Nikolai Kharitonov to run against President Vladimir Putin in the March 2024 presidential election. Kolu Mohammed tells us more.
The Communist Party of Russia and the second largest party in parliament on Sunday selected its 75-year-old to contest in next March's presidential polls. At the party congress in the Moscow region, members held a single candidate vote backing Nikolai Kharitonov. He won just under 14% of the national vote when he stood against Putin in 2004. A member of the Communist Party, Alexander Yushchenko, said Kharitov's candidacy is supported by an overwhelming majority of Congress participants in a secret ballot. The Communist Party, led since 1993 by Gennady Yukhanov, fielded an alternative candidate in the 2018 presidential polls. Critical analysts say, on paper, the Communist Party is in opposition, but in practice, it backs up Putin's party, United Russia. Meanwhile, a former legislator, Ekaterina Duntsova, calling for peace in Ukraine, hit a roadblock in her campaign as Russia's Central Election Commission refused to accept her initial nomination by a group of supporters, citing errors in the documents submitted. Duntsova wrote on Telegram that the Central Election Commission refused to register initiative group. Reports say the Commission found 100 errors in her nomination papers, including mistakes in the spelling of names. Head of Russia's Central Election Commission, Ella Pamfilova, said at the Commission meeting, addressing Duntsova, "You are a young woman. You still have everything ahead of you, and any minus can always be turned into a plus." Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Stakeholders, including relevant ministries, departments and agencies, have collaborated on technology-driven measures to harness the potential of Nigeria's blue economy. At a workshop with the theme Unlocking the Potential of Market-Ready Technological Solutions for Blue Economy in Nigeria, the Director General, National Center for Technology Management, Dr. Olushola Odusanya, said, like the Philippines, Nigeria can leverage the activities in and around its oceans, seas, and coastal areas by generating over $70 billion yearly to the nation's economy. He said that the country's vast underutilized blue economy offers huge opportunities for growth and development to overcome present economic challenges. Organized by NACITM, the event drew participants from the Nigerian Shippers Council, Lagos Inland Waterways,
by the time we get ourselves together,
Nigerian Ports Authority, Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, National Fish Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Association of Small-Scale Industrialists, Raw Materials Research and Development Council.
The the Nasitem.
Weather prospects for Monday in Nigeria and other world cities. And that concludes news on NTA International. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.